What if I told you that the greatest spiritual gift you'll ever receive doesn't come wrapped in light, doesn't arrive with choirs of angels, and doesn't make you feel instantly free? What if I told you this gift comes hidden in shadows, disguised as suffering, and wrapped in silence so thick you question whether God even exists? This is not the kind of spiritual story that people like to hear. This is the story of the dark chosen ones, the misunderstood souls who were never meant to fit in, but to transcend. And the gift they are given is so rare, so sacred, so powerful, that most people never even recognize it until it's already changed everything. We begin in the place where most of us try to escape from the void. Not the peaceful, meditative kind of void, but the kind that feels like spiritual exile. You pray and there's no answer. You cry out and the only thing that echoes back is your own breath. The world that once felt alive now feels empty. And no matter how hard you try to return to the light, it feels like the door has been locked from the inside. This is not punishment. This is initiation. You were not abandoned, you were chosen. And the darkness you're experiencing is not a mistake. It's part of the sacred process of receiving the best spiritual gift ever given to a dark chosen one. The first layer of this gift is invisibility. Yes, invisibility. Being unseen, being misunderstood, being rejected by the very people who once celebrated you. This is not the universe mocking you, it's the universe protecting you. When you are being prepared for something holy, you must be hidden. You must be removed from the noise. Because if the world saw what was being born inside you too soon, it would try to label it, profit from it, or kill it. Invisibility is painful, but it is sacred. It teaches you to stop seeking validation from the outside and start listening to the voice within. That voice, the one you've ignored for so long, that is the voice of your soul. And only when everything else falls silent can you finally hear it.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
The second layer of the gift is betrayal. Yes, betrayal. The people you trusted will turn. The ones you loved will walk away. The support systems you relied on will crumble. And you'll ask, why is this happening to me? But here's the truth. These betrayals are not here to destroy you, they are here to purify you. They are spiritual scalpels cutting away the parts of your life that cannot come with you into the next dimension. You wanted ascension, but you didn't realize it would require detachment. Every betrayal is an invitation to stand alone. And in standing alone, you begin to remember your original power, the power that doesn't come from connection to others, but from connection to Source. The third layer of the gift is death. Not physical death, but ego death. The death of every identity you thought you needed to survive. The death of the version of you that needed to be liked, needed to be right, needed to be perfect. This death feels like madness. You might scream. You might isolate. You might wonder if you're losing your mind. But you are not. You are losing the mind that was built by the world, so you can find the mind that was born with the soul. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. And when the ego dies, something ancient awakens, something elemental, something eternal. And then comes the silence. The kind of silence that feels like abandonment. But this silence, this is where the transmission begins. This is where the real gift starts to activate. In the silence, You begin to hear the frequencies beneath words. You begin to feel the subtle energies of truth. You begin to sense the presence of something vast and holy, not outside of you, but woven into your very being. The silence is not absence, it is sacred space. It is the womb of your rebirth. And from that silence comes the first whisper of your true purpose. Not the purpose society gave you, not the purpose your trauma demanded, but the sole purpose, the one you agreed to before you were born. This is when the shift happens. This is when the best spiritual gift begins to make itself known. Because the dark chosen ones are not here to live easy lives. We are not here to be loved by the crowd. We are here to carry the codes of transformation. We are here to walk into the fire, transmute the pain, and return with the medicine. That is the gift. The gift is transmutation. The gift is becoming the alchemist. The one who turns darkness into gold, not just for yourself, but for others. Do you understand how rare that is? Most people run from pain. You were forced to sit in it. Most people escape through distraction. You were stripped of every distraction until all that remained was your raw self. And in that rawness, you became a channel for something greater. A wisdom that doesn't come from books, power that doesn't come from titles, love that doesn't need conditions. You became a vessel. And that vessel, though it was cracked open by suffering, now holds the light of truth. Now here is the paradox. The deeper your darkness, the greater your capacity to hold light. That is why you were chosen. Because your soul was strong enough to walk through hell without losing its core. You forgot for a while. You thought the darkness had won. But it didn't. It was preparing you. It was tempering you, like a sword forged in fire. And now that you've survived the fire, you are no longer fragile. You are indestructible. But here's the question you must ask yourself now. What will you do with this gift? Because this gift is not for you alone. It is not meant to be hoarded. It is meant to be shared. The pain you endured wasn't just for your growth, it was to give you the eyes to see others who are still trapped. The trauma you transmuted wasn't just for your healing, it was to give you the frequency to guide others through their own storms. Can you be brave enough to step into your role? You are not just a survivor, you are a seer, a healer, a keeper of sacred fire. And the world doesn't need more light workers who bypass the dark. The world needs dark chosen ones who have walked through the abyss and returned with the truth. The truth that healing is messy, that awakening is brutal, that transformation is not always beautiful, but it is always worth it. And now that you carry that truth, you are medicine. You may still feel broken. You may still have scars. But those scars are sacred. They are proof that you were chosen to carry something heavy and bring it back in a form that others can understand. Your story, your silence, your pain, it's all part of the gift. And the more you embrace it, the more powerful it becomes. Not flashy power, not egoic power, but the quiet, sovereign power of one who knows who they are, regardless of who sees them. So let me ask you something that might shake you. Are you willing to stop hiding? Are you ready to claim the gift that was buried in your darkness? Are you brave enough to live as the medicine you came here to be? There comes a moment when you stop trying to escape and you start listening. not with your ears, but with your soul. You begin to notice that the pain has changed you in ways you can't fully explain. You don't react the same. You don't crave the same things. You don't even feel like the same person. That's because you're not. You've been rewired, recalibrated, and the gift is no longer something distant you're waiting for. It's something you've already become. You are the gift. The journey didn't give you something to hold. It turned you into someone this world has never seen before. But before you can fully embody it, you must understand the nature of this gift. It doesn't make your life easier. It makes your life real. It strips away illusion so completely that you are forced to meet existence face to face without filters. And in that rawness, you begin to see what others cannot. You begin to feel the pain beneath people's smiles. You begin to sense the truth behind their masks. And this sensitivity isn't weakness, it's spiritual intelligence. It's the antenna of the sacred. It's the ability to receive transmissions from the divine in the most mundane moments. When you walk into a room, you can feel the energy before anyone speaks. When you hear someone talk, you can sense the wound underneath their words. You see through lies, not with judgment, but with compassion. This is the gift of spiritual sight. Not the kind that sees auras or spirits, though that might come too, but the kind that sees the soul, the kind that sees the truth. And this kind of sight is dangerous to systems built on illusion. That's why you were hidden for so long. That's why you went through the dark night, to prepare you for what your eyes would one day see. And now that you're seeing, the real work begins. Because the gift is not just about awareness, it's about responsibility. You are not here to convince others. You are not here to save anyone. You are here to embody the frequency of truth in a world addicted to lies. That alone is enough to shift timelines. That alone is enough to awaken sleeping souls. But you must be grounded. You must be disciplined. Because power without humility becomes corruption. And you did not survive all that pain to become another ego cloaked in spirituality. You are here to walk the middle path, not in the light, not in the dark, but in the sacred space between. You are the bridge, the one who holds both heaven and hell in their chest and still chooses love. Not sentimental love, not conditional love, but the fierce holy love that says, I see your shadow and I will not abandon you. That love is the medicine. That love is the revolution. That love is the gift. But love like that can't be faked. It can only be forged. And it's forged in the fire you walked through. Every sleepless night, every panic attack, every moment you questioned if you'd make it, that was the fire. And now that you've walked through it, your nervous system is no longer the same. Your energy field is no longer the same. You are no longer just a human being. You are a portal, a transmission, a living prayer. When people meet you, they won't know why they feel lighter. They won't realize that your silence is recalibrating their frequency, that your presence is reminding their soul of something ancient, that your gaze is awakening their own inner knowing. But it is, because your gift works in silence. It doesn't need to be seen to be real, and that's why it's so powerful. And yet, you'll still doubt yourself. You'll still wonder if you're making a difference. if your presence really matters, because the world won't always validate you. In fact, the more aligned you become, the more the world may try to reject you. But remember, rejection is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of frequency mismatch. And the more your energy rises, the more you will be misunderstood by those who are still asleep. That's not your fault. That's not your burden. That's just how light interacts with shadow. So what do you do with this gift? You live it fully, authentically, quietly if needed, loudly if called. You stop trying to be relatable and start being real. You stop performing and start embodying. You speak when it's time. You are silent when it's sacred. You let your life become the message. You let your energy become the sermon. You let your healing become the roadmap for others who are still walking through the fire. And you don't do it perfectly. You do it honestly. You cry when it hurts. You rest when you're tired. You say no when it's not aligned. You honor your boundaries as sacred doors, not walls. Because part of the gift is knowing that you're still human. And your humanity is not a flaw, it's the canvas through which your divinity expresses itself. Stop trying to ascend out of your body. Get deeper into it. That's where the wisdom lives. And here's the bold truth. The more you embody this gift, the more you will be called to places others avoid. You will be guided into conversations that others are too afraid to have. You will be asked to hold space for people who are in deep, chaotic transformation. And when that happens, don't shrink. Remember that you've been through the void. You've felt the unbearable. You've made peace with the unknown. That's what makes you qualified. Not certifications, not followers, but the fact that you've survived the very thing that terrifies most people. So when someone is breaking down in front of you, don't offer them cliches. Offer them presence. Offer them silence. Offer them the strength of someone who knows what it's like to be in the dark. That's what the gift is for. Not to elevate you above others, but to allow you to sit with them in their pain without flinching, and to hold their chaos without needing to fix it. To remind them, through your being, that the dark is not the end, it's the beginning. And if you forget, come back to this. Come back to the moment when you were at your lowest, when you thought it was over, when you begged for relief and got silence. And yet, somehow, you're still here, still breathing, still growing. That's the proof. That's the miracle. That's the gift. You were tempered by darkness to carry a light that cannot be extinguished. So I ask you again, and this time let the question burn into your soul. Are you willing to accept that your greatest pain was the portal to your greatest gift? And if so, what will you do with it now? Now that you've seen the gift for what it truly is, now that you've felt it move inside your bones and reshape your breath, there's no going back. You've been marked, not by the world, but by the cosmos. You were not sent here to conform, to perform, or to entertain. You were sent here to remember, and that remembering is the gift. The gift is not something external that arrives on your doorstep in golden light. It is the slow, excruciating, beautiful return to your original frequency. The one you carried before the world made you forget, before the trauma, before the silence, before the masks. This is what people don't understand about dark chosen ones. We are not chosen because we are special. We are chosen because we were capable of surviving what others could not. We are chosen because we were willing to feel what others deny. We are chosen because we could sit in the fire long enough to become the flame. That's the difference. And the gift is not about power in the way the world defines it. It's about presence. It's about becoming so rooted in your soul that nothing outside of you can define who you are anymore. That's the real initiation. That's the real freedom. And now that you have it, you start to see that everything you lost was a blessing. Every door that closed was protection. Every person who left was making space. Every breakdown was a sacred blueprint being rewritten. You thought you were being destroyed, but you were being redesigned. And now that you've survived the storm, you speak a language that only others who've made it through can understand. It's not spoken in words. It's spoken in energy, in the way your presence calms a room, in the way your silence carries more truth than most people's sermons. This is how the gift works. It doesn't need to be explained. It reveals itself through embodiment, through the way you listen, the way you forgive without forgetting, the way you protect your peace without closing your heart, the way you love even after being shattered. That's what makes you different, not because you're more enlightened, but because you're more real, more here, more willing to walk barefoot across the coals of life and still offer your hands to others. The gift also comes with vision, not the illusion kind, but the kind that sees the potential of a soul even when they're buried under fear. You'll look at someone who sees themselves as broken and you'll see a healer in hiding. You'll look at someone in rage and you'll see their grief. You'll look at someone who has lost their way and you won't judge them, you'll remember when it was you. That's the gift. You see without distortion. You feel without fear. And you love without needing to fix. But this gift also asks something from you. It asks that you live with integrity. Because now you know too much to go back to pretending. Now you're too awake to lie to yourself. Every time you try to shrink, your body will protest. Every time you betray your truth, your spirit will ache. Every time you ignore your calling, the universe will shake things up until you remember again. Because this gift is alive, and once it's been activated, it will not let you rest in mediocrity. It will keep calling you back to your highest path, even when you try to hide. And yes, you'll still have to face doubt. You'll still question whether you're worthy of this, or whether you're imagining it all, whether you're crazy. But remember, doubt is not the enemy. Doubt is the refining fire. It keeps you humble. It keeps you listening. It keeps you from turning your gift into ego. Because this power, if misused, can become manipulation. But if honored, it becomes medicine. And that's what you are now, a walking pharmacy for the soul. So what does that look like in the real world? It looks like being the one who speaks truth, even when it shakes the room. It looks like choosing peace when revenge would be easier. It looks like walking away from what is shiny and popular to protect what is sacred. It looks like staying soft in a world that hardens people. It looks like creating art that heals, raising children with awareness, building businesses with soul, loving your partner like a sacred mirror, living your life like a daily prayer. And when the world tries to pull you back into old patterns, you'll feel it. The misalignment, the dissonance, the way your body tenses when you're out of integrity. That's the gift reminding you you're not who you used to be. You've outgrown the costume. You've outgrown the game. And now your only job is to stay true to the frequency you fought so hard to reclaim. That means setting boundaries without guilt. That means saying no without explanation. That means trusting your intuition even when logic disagrees. That means being okay with being misunderstood, because you didn't come here to be understood. You came here to be a transmitter of truth. And truth rarely fits into the boxes people try to place it in. So let me ask you something now, something only you can answer in the quiet of your own being. What would it look like if you stopped hiding your gift? What would it feel like to live without apology? What would happen if you finally accepted that your path was never meant to match the template? Because when you do that, when you say yes to your frequency without compromise, you unlock a new level of reality. People start to find you. Opportunities align without effort. Synchronicities become your language. You stop chasing and start attracting. Not from ego, but from alignment. Not from force, but from flow. That's the magic of the gift. It turns your life into a mirror of your soul. And this is where the final activation happens. You realize you never had to earn the gift. You were always the gift. It was never about doing more. It was about remembering who you are beneath everything they told you to be. It was about burning down the illusion so the truth could rise. And now that it has, your life becomes your temple. Your breath becomes your prayer. Your presence becomes your offering. Everything you touch is encoded. Every word you speak carries vibration. Every choice you make sends ripples into the collective. You don't need a stage. You don't need a title. You just need to be. Because now you understand the best spiritual gift ever given to dark chosen ones is not something you receive. It's something you become. So I leave you with this question, the one that only a soul who's walked through the void can answer truthfully. If you stopped waiting for permission, what kind of world would you build with the gift that's already inside you? And if you can feel even a whisper of the answer, then the transformation has already begun.